When you're with someone significant, it's important that before you get married or engaged or anything else, that in most normal families, you need to introduce them to your parents. And the reason is because your parents raised you. Your parents know you. Your mother especially was connected with you. And so it's very important, unless you're from an abused family, that you introduce them to your significant other before they become your significant other. However, I'm going to say this because I got a question from someone earlier in the week. Am I a bad person because I don't want to introduce my boyfriend or girlfriend to my parents? Absolutely not. You're not a bad person. Timing is everything, and you know what? There's no rules with this. But I will say this, if someone tells me that they don't want to introduce them or they're nervous about it, or I was dating someone who didn't want me to meet their parents, I could think of a lot of reasons that may not be good for our relationship why they would be resisting that. They could feel like they weren't that close to me. They could feel like they came from an abusive family or a dysfunctional family, somebody they weren't proud of, or they may be carrying a lot of shame about their past, or maybe their parents had some stipulations about the kind of person they should marry, and the reason they didn't want to introduce me is because I exemplified those. There's all sorts of things, and unless you communicate it with your partner, they're not going to know. And for you, it might be a simple decision, like, I just don't think I'm ready. Then what does that say to your partner? I mean, you better be ready to explain the reason. Now, I'm going to tell you 3 reasons you shouldn't be ashamed if you're not ready. But within those reasons, there's also things I want you to consider and really think about before going forward with this partner. The first of these is there's no such thing as the right time. If you tell your partner, I'm just waiting for the right time, what is that? Like, what is the right time? When you're together another year longer, or when your parents are in a better mood, or what are you looking to achieve before you introduce them? And I think that's the intricate thing that is so important for you to identify it personally with yourself and be able to express that to your partner. The second thing, communication with your best friend. I think it's more important, honestly, right now, if you can't introduce them to your parent, then can you introduce them to your best friend? Can you introduce them to your inner circle? Your inner circle are the people you've chosen. These are the people that basically you are maybe even substituting for what you call a family, if you will, or your people. I think if this is someone you really love, then you should be able to introduce them to your best friend, to your inner circle of people. And if you're resisting doing that too, then it's highly likely that there's something about this relationship you're not okay with. Has nothing to do with the other people, has nothing to do with your parents or your best friend or your inner circle. It's talking loudly about what your stipulation is. What part of this relationship are you rejecting? Maybe it's even that you're in a relationship with this person. Maybe this person does not share values, and it's just something that happened and you had no idea you would ever fall for this kind of person. Maybe you see their faults blatantly and it's bothering you, but yet you feel so tugged by the love you feel for them. Whatever it is, it's very important you come into touch with that and you're able to express that with your partner. And the last thing is that I think, although it doesn't say you're a bad person or that this is the wrong person, it does say something about the intensity of the relationship. Because when you introduce someone that you're dating to your parents, it's because you've identified this relationship as significant. And until you do that, most people don't really feel the need to introduce them to the most important person, which is their parents or their best friend or whoever it is. And not only that, but you can introduce someone you're dating to your best friend, and that's easier than taking them home to the people who raised them. Because when you take your partner home to your parents, you're showing them a whole new side of you, where you grew up, where the people who first held you, the people who first loved you, the people you identified as love. And when you show them that, unless you're ready, they could exploit that. They could come back to that in arguments. They could say critical things. And so there's a lot of trust that happens when you take someone home to your family. If the trust isn't there yet in this relationship, wow, then I would make note of that. And I would say, you know what? I think the reason I can't take you home yet is I'm not sure I trust your impression, or I trust that you would be able to go with me and be okay and not be judgmental. This is a discussion the two of you need to have. And if you're putting it off, if you're putting off your parents and just saying, you won't like them anyway, or they're not ready for you, or I don't know, I just don't feel comfortable yet, that's pretty bland. That's the only part that I would say, I want to respect you, but if you're not honest with your partner and you're not able to tell them the truth about why you don't want to take them home, I think that speaks louder than anything, any action you're going to say. But they need to hear it. They need to know the reason why. Because if you care for them and if you respect the relationship with them, then it's important that you're as honest with them as you can be. So once you gain that understanding, I definitely think they need to know. But are you a bad person because you don't feel comfortable taking them home? No, that's not that kind of judgment. Do you need to think about few things and come to the plate and be honest about it? Yeah, that's what you need to do. If this video is helpful for you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much.